Congratulations. You did it. For grueling years, or 5, or 6, no judgment, of caffeine-fueled all-nighters, existential dread, and a student debt load that could sink a small country. But now you've made it. You've walked across that stage, shaken hands with the university president, who, let's be honest, doesn't know or care who you are, and proudly held up that expensive piece of paper with your name on it. The world is your oyster. Except, instead of pearls, you find yourself sifting through endless pages of LinkedIn job postings that demand 5+ years of experience for an entry-level role. You wonder if you missed a crucial memo. Was there a pre-college secret internship program for toddlers? Because apparently your freshly minted degree, once thought to be the golden ticket to financial security, is now just a very overpriced wall decoration. At first, the job hunt seems promising. You spruce up your resume, tweak your cover letter to sound as impressive yet humble as possible, and apply to every position that even remotely aligns with your major. Entry-level marketing associate? Sure. Data analyst? Why not? Hedge fund manager? Maybe they'll admire my confidence. A week goes by. Nothing. 2 weeks. Crickets. A month. The only emails in your inbox are from job boards urging you to apply now to these hot new jobs, which, of course, you already applied to 3 weeks ago. The rejections start rolling in, each one a slightly different variation of "thank you for your application, but we've decided to move forward with another candidate." You begin to suspect that these emails are auto-generated by an algorithm programmed to crush your dreams. If you're living with your parents post-graduation, congratulations. Your life is now a sitcom where every episode revolves around subtle and not so subtle reminders that you're a financial parasite. Your mom, who once told you that you could be anything you wanted in life, now slips pamphlets for trade schools under your bedroom door. Your dad casually suggests, maybe you should consider government work, as if you have the qualifications to just waltz into a federal agency and demand a job. He mutters about how back in his day, he walked into a job interview, shook the boss's hand, and got hired on the spot. You resist the urge to remind him that rent was $200 back then, and avocado toast didn't even exist yet. Family dinners become interrogation sessions. Have you applied anywhere new today? Yes, Mom, 14 places. Did you follow up? Yes, Dad, they left me on read. Maybe you should just take anything at this point. Ah yes, my lifelong dream of becoming a part-time assistant night shift manager at Taco Bell. The pressure intensifies when they start comparing you to your distant relatives. You know, your cousin Eric just bought a house. Fantastic, Mom. Tell Eric I'll be moving into his basement. Unemployment isn't just a financial burden, it's an existential one. You go from being a student with purpose to a human houseplant, existing in a space of uncertainty. You start making yourself scarce, strategically timing your kitchen visits when the house is empty to avoid yet another "so, any job updates?" interrogation. Days blur together as you oscillate between frantic job searching and staring at the ceiling, contemplating whether capitalism was a mistake. Psychologists call this identity foreclosure, when your sense of self-worth is tied directly to your career. You spent your whole life believing that your job defines you, and now, with no job, who even are you? The answer: someone who has rewatched The Office 3 times in a row while eating cereal at 3 a.m. Your sleep schedule? Destroyed. Your diet? Highly questionable. You suddenly understand why philosophers spent so much time pondering the meaning of life, because they were probably unemployed too. The system is broken, and you're starting to see just how much. The American dream promised that if you worked hard and got an education, success would follow. But here you are, competing with hundreds of equally desperate applicants for a job that pays barely enough to cover rent. Meanwhile, your high school acquaintance who dropped out now owns a car detailing business and makes more in a week than you did in your last internship. To make matters worse, social media shoves success stories in your face 24/7. One scroll through Instagram and you see that one friend who followed their passion and now has a 6-figure remote job. Some random dude who went viral for eating an onion in a weird way and now has brand sponsorships. Crypto brothers flaunting Lamborghinis, despite the fact that they definitely do not understand blockchain technology. At some point, you start wondering if traditional employment is even worth it. Do you really want to spend your life in a cubicle, wearing uncomfortable dress shoes, and making small talk with coworkers who insist on using office jargon? You start considering alternative careers. Maybe you should start a podcast. Maybe you should become a full-time streamer. Maybe you should just become a full-time content creator. Maybe you should join a pyramid scheme. They do say you can be your own boss. The idea of working a traditional 9 to 5 starts feeling less like a goal and more like an outdated social construct designed to keep you chained to capitalism. The worst part? Some of your friends actually found jobs, and now, every interaction with them is laced with subtle pity. You'll find something soon, I'm sure of it. Translation: I'm so glad I'm not in your position. Have you thought about learning to code? Only every day since I graduated, thanks. Some friends, however, are also in the same boat, and those are the only ones you can talk to without feeling like a failure. Together, you bond over your shared misery, sending each other absurd job postings like junior position, must have 15 years of experience, and debating whether applying to be a lighthouse keeper is a viable career move. Weeks turn into months. You lose track of time. Your parents grow increasingly desperate, suggesting things like MLM schemes or selling feet pics online. So here you are, still unemployed, still stuck in the purgatory of job hunting, family interrogations, and existential crises. You were hoping this phase would last a few weeks, maybe a month at most. But now, as your inbox overflows with "thank you for applying, but we've decided to move forward with another candidate" emails, you're realizing that this isn't just a phase. This is a lifestyle, and not the cool, digital nomad, sipping coconut water on a beach kind of lifestyle. No, this is the waking up at noon, avoiding your parents' judgmental glances, wondering if you can put off student loan payments for another month kind of lifestyle. At first, the unemployment experience felt like an extended vacation. You caught up on sleep, binge-watched every series Netflix has ever produced, and convinced yourself that this was just a temporary setback. But soon, something sinister began creeping in: self-doubt. Psychologists call this learned helplessness, a phenomenon where repeated failures make you believe that nothing you do will change your situation. You start asking yourself, what's the point of sending another resume? They're just going to ignore me anyway. Your brain, desperate to protect you from the pain of rejection, convinces you that trying is pointless. And so you start applying less. The urgency fades. You tell yourself, I'll start fresh on Monday. But Monday comes and goes, and suddenly it's been 2 weeks since you sent out a single application. Your life has become an endless cycle of mañana, where tomorrow is always the day things will change. Meanwhile, your friends are moving on. When they invite you out, you have to quickly calculate whether you can afford to split a $15 pizza. And God forbid they suggest a brunch spot where the avocado toast costs more than your weekly grocery budget. So, you start dodging invitations. You tell yourself it's because you're too busy job hunting. But really, you just can't handle sitting at a table where everyone's talking about their careers while you nod along, trying to act like freelancing a little on the side means something other than scrolling LinkedIn in your pajamas. And let's not forget the joy of running into an old classmate who just happened to start their own company. Yeah man, business is booming. We just expanded into Europe. How about you? What have you been up to? Oh, keeping busy, exploring my options. Translation: I Googled how to make money online at 3 a.m. last night and briefly considered selling feet pics. A fun side effect of unemployment is that it forces you to confront the giant lie you were sold in college. That if you work hard, get good grades, and build a nice little resume, the world will reward you with your dream job. No one mentioned that entry-level jobs now require 5 years of experience, 3 industry certifications, and fluency in Mandarin just to be considered. No one told you that competitive salary is corporate code for just barely enough to survive. And absolutely no one warned you that "we're like a family here" is HR speak for "we will exploit you emotionally and financially." So, you start applying to jobs that have nothing to do with your degree. You went to school for marketing, but suddenly data entry specialist doesn't sound so bad. Your dream was to be a journalist, but now customer service representative is starting to look reasonable. You lower your standards. You lower them again and again, until one day you find yourself thinking, being a night security guard at an abandoned mall might not be the worst thing in the world. The real kicker? The job market is rigged against you. Entry-level jobs require experience. Internships don't pay. The cost of living keeps rising, but wages? Oh, those are staying right where they are, buddy. And let's talk about inflation. Remember when a gallon of milk cost $2? Now it's $5, and you're genuinely wondering if you can live off ramen indefinitely. Spoiler alert, you can't. Malnutrition isn't a vibe. But you know who's doing great? Billionaires. While you're refreshing your inbox for an interview request, Jeff Bezos just made your entire lifetime salary in the time it took you to read this paragraph. At some point, you start wondering, was life better when I was just a dumb college student with no responsibilities? At least back then, being broke was normal. Now it's a personal failing. Psychologically, long-term unemployment can lead to anxiety, depression, and even a loss of self-worth. Humans are wired to derive meaning from productivity, and when that's taken away, it messes with your mental state. It's called status inconsistency, and it happens when there's a major gap between where you expected to be in life and where you actually are. So what do? You start doom scrolling. You compare yourself to every success story you see online. You spiral into an existential crisis at 2 a.m., contemplating whether or not you should just go off the grid and live in a cabin in the woods. But deep down, you know you're not ready to give up. Because as much as the system is designed to keep you down, you also know that you can't stay like this forever. You'll keep applying. You'll keep trying. And maybe, just maybe, one day you'll get an email that doesn't start with unfortunately. Until then, you wait. And you keep hoping. Because really, what other choice do you have?